Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make better builds in Roblox Piggy Build Mode. We're going to cover the basic tools, but just briefly. This video is going to be more of an exploration on how to use the available build tools we have to make better maps. We're going to explore all kinds of mechanics. I've tested everything out. This is going to be a really fun exploration of what you can do with the tools. Let's check it out. All right, so when you first spawn into build mode, you start on this 3x3 square and you cannot remove these blocks. They are not deletable. And so in build mode, when people come to your server, they will teleport to these blocks. And so if you want your map connected, if you want people to be able to explore, then you want to connect it. But if you don't want people to see your map beforehand, what you're gonna need to do is sort of close this area off. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. One way that you can do it is to simply build a bridge out, build your stuff, and then delete the bridge. And so they can't get over here at all. But while I was building, I placed my player spawn over there. Do you see that? And so if I go to settings right here, notice that I can teleport to player spawn. And now I can come over here, but other people can't. So that's a cool little tip right there. And at any time I can hit the settings again and I can teleport to build mode spawn. And that's gonna bring me out here to this area as well. Now every map before you play it needs a player spawn and a piggy spawn. So depending on the kind of game you're making, you may or may not want to have Piggy involved. So maybe you're making an obby timed race or something like that, or you're doing some sort of story or a role play hangout area or whatever you're doing, and you may or may not want Piggy involved, or maybe just for testing, you don't want Piggy involved at all. So what I do is I go ahead and I go into build mode here, and I'll just build out a little bit of stuff right there, and then I'll go over to the events and I'll put Piggy spawn right there, and then I'll tap 5 and I'll delete. There we go. So that's just a way to get Piggy out on a block, and you don't have to worry about Piggy anymore. And then when people are playing, you can move the Piggy spawn where it's supposed to go. In fact, you can actually even teleport to the Piggy spawn while you're building. So for example, if you're building like some really big thing, you might actually use these teleports as ways to just get around the map really quick. So for example, if I'm building like, way over here, I may want to put the Piggy spawn way over there where my cursor's at, so I can quickly get over there just by a couple clicks, do my building. I can teleport back to build spawn too, back to the player spawn, so you could just use it to quickly move around the map. And then when you want to make it playable, put them where they're supposed to go. But other than that, you can only have just one of each of those spawns. It would be nice to have more of these teleport things. And notice in the settings menu, you can scroll up and down here. So this is where you can set who can join. You can set it to private, friends, or anyone. And you can also kick players in here. So that's what's in there. You can always click play to play any of the modes. And then there's also load, where you can have up to 4 save slots. First 2 are free, the rest are 100 Robux each. And then of course you can save in there. So I'm just gonna save this real quick in slot 4. Okay, so then if you needed more, you could always just make alts. And if you didn't want to pay for it, you could just have alts and get 2 free save slots each time. Another tip I want to give you before we get over to that island over there is just how to build really quickly. And you want to get used to the hotkeys. If you look at the bottom of my screen right there, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 will open this up and I can pick all of the different sets. There's the basic set, the decoration set, which is limited right now, but there will be more. They told us in the next update we'll have more. We have the lighting set, which is also limited. I'm suspecting we'll get more of that. The events is where you're gonna have the spawns, all of the different doors, and of course the fire block, the crack door, the acid block, the invisible block, which you can use to sort of like, hide player's ability to move through things, right? So that's the invisible block right there. So if you want to like block off the edges of the map for some reason, you could use that. And then we just have a basic door, which you can open at any time. And then in the items, we have all of the different keys. There are actually more keys in this mode than regular Piggy mode. We did not have the purple key before. We have the hammer, we have the wrench, the extinguisher, TNT, gun, ammo, crossbow, and the carrot, which is ammo for the crossbow. So using the hotkeys, you can quickly navigate around to the colors. So if I hit the number 2, I can pick a color. If I hit the number 3, I can pick the material of the block. And if I hit the number 4, I can get the picker, which I can pick up whatever color. So if I pick the green of the grass right there, and then I go ahead and I go back and I select the basic blocks, turn the picker off, now I can build with a green block. And if I wanted to use 4 and I wanted to grab that gray block, then I can build with the gray block. So that's a really quick way to make sure you're using the same colors, because sometimes it's pretty hard to like pick the exact same color every single time in this color chart. All right, so one of the cool things that you could do with the spawn build mode spawn area is you could sort of build out a room for everybody to hang out in. So let's say, for example, you didn't want people to see what your map was like. This is where they spawn. And you could just build out a room for them and sort of like, you know, block them in so they can't even see anything. And while I'm showing you this, I'm going to show you a quick way to build in this game, which is a real advantage is that you can zoom way out. So if I want to expand this floor a lot, I can just go like this. And now that I'm zoomed way out, I can put my cursor on any one of these blocks and see how far, and I'm just clicking really fast, and I can build this huge platform in just a matter of seconds really, and basically build out a large floor area for my map. So this is the first thing I actually do whenever I'm starting an area is I see I'm tapping the 5 key to delete any mistakes I make, and then go back into build mode, and you can see you get a red square, and see if I make a mistake up here and I got these blocks that I don't like, I just tap 5, delete, 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 back to build mode with 5, and boom. So I often have my finger right on the 5 key the whole time I'm building, and I can just rapidly build out areas like this. And then I could just put walls on this if I wanted. So if I didn't want people to see what was inside my map over here, again, I just putting up walls really quickly, just like this. So use the camera to your advantage, kind of like line yourself up along your build so you don't even have to move the mouse, and you just click really fast. All right, so now let's just teleport over to the player spawn, and that will put me on the island here. So that's just a quick way for me to get around. On another video I made, I checked out all the randomization of items. I've done it again really quick here just so you can see what gets randomized. But basically it goes like this. If you place out multiple of any of the keys, the game will pick one at random and place it out for you. And same with the hammers, the wrenches, and the fire extinguishers. It'll only place one of each of those, but it will place as many TNT as you have doors, exploding walls, right? So these cracked walls. So if you place out 5, 10 of these TNTs, it'll place the same amount that you have of walls. Guns, you'll only get 1. Ammo is infinite. Crossbow will only give 1. And the ammo for the crossbow, the carrot, is also infinite. Let's go in and I'll show you real quick. Just gonna hit play mode. We're gonna spawn a bot, and the bot's of course gonna spawn on that little island over there. Let's see if we can see Piggy spawn over there, right there on that block. Poor Piggy's not gonna be able to go anywhere. All right, Piggy is woken up, spawned on the block, and it'll probably just fall off. So you could put a little box around it if you don't want Piggy to fall over and over again, but Piggy will basically respawn on top of that block over and over again. And now we're free to just do whatever we want on our map. So as you can see, just like I said, we now have multiple TNTs. We have bullets and carrots, all as many as we want. However, it picked a random version of each of those other items that I placed, and it put them out there. And so it basically gave us just as many TNTs as there was walls to explode. But that's not true with the laser door. Still just gave us 1 wrench for the laser door. So you could use these things in your design. All right, next thing I want to show you guys is fire blocks. And so I was really curious how to use fire blocks to make interesting levels. And so fire blocks actually don't kill you. So I can walk up and down this like staircase of fire blocks and not get wounded at all. However, I have a door down here at the bottom and I can't get through it because literally the fire block, I'm just like standing on top of it. So I was also curious like how far away the fire extinguisher could put those out. So let's grab the fire extinguisher real quick, and we're gonna stand here and we're gonna just sort of like try to extinguish blocks and see how many it can go out. It seems like it goes about 5. And then I wanted to know, this is a staircase that goes down, and I wanted to know how far down you could reach. So basically, you know, you could make it a level where there was a fire block, but it was far away, and a player had to sort of reach as far as they could with the fire extinguisher, and there we go. So at this many blocks down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at 6 steps down, the fire extinguisher no longer reaches. So you could use that to your advantage in your level design, but then I could just jump down here, and then I can open up the doorway and I could escape this way. So that could definitely create some interesting elements in a puzzle kind of map. You're gonna have to just sort of get creative with those fire blocks, but I thought that that was a really interesting experiment. Now another experiment I did over here is with the acid blocks, and I thought what was interesting with acid blocks is let's play with obbies, right? So obby type elements that have consequences, like mainly dying if you fail, are pretty interesting. So I was curious like how far the character can jump, and for me it's honestly it's just 1, right? I can only jump 1. If I try to jump more than 1, it doesn't work. I can do these kind of like angle jumps and things like that, but if I try to jump 2 from basically from here to here, I just can't make it. Maybe you guys can. I couldn't when somehow I didn't die. I actually hit that acid and I didn't die. All right, so back over here at my obby, I thought I would play around with different kinds of things, and so you can see right here, I actually put a hole in the acid, and I thought that maybe it'd be interesting if a player could like jump through that hole and sort of end up down in this room down below, right? So it's like this super risky jump. I jumped it many times. You guys, your mileage may vary, but I could not make it through that hole. If you just touch the block a tiny bit, you die. So I started doing more experiments, and I thought, well, what if it was, you know, 2 blocks wide, and I died when I hit that one too. But I did find that the other one up there that's 4 blocks big was working, and I was able to get through that one pretty easily and just drop through the hole. So this could be a really interesting mechanic in a game where you have a sort of obby situation to get to the other side. There's stuff you need, and it's really obvious, but maybe somewhere in there you have to do this other thing. Maybe you have to do both in the game, but maybe you have this other thing where you try to jump through those 4, and then you end up down in this room and, oh man, I wish I had the hammer, or I wish I had the wrench, right? So obbies could be a really great element. So even just having like a non-fatal type obby, right? So if you want to get to the other side over here, and with lighting, that door is not gonna, that's gonna be visible because it's glowing, but like a regular door would not be visible down there at the bottom unless you had lighting down there. And so the player would not think to necessarily drop down and then probably go over here and do some more obvious thing. But if they actually were smart enough to drop down, then they maybe would find a secret door or something like that to open up. And maybe that would give them an item, sort of a shortcut in the level. We can get really creative with these tools. So also while you're building, like it's daytime, but in the game it's always nighttime. There's currently no way to set things. And so lighting is actually a really tricky thing to sort of figure out exactly where to put it. And that's another good reason to sort of trap your piggy over there, because you're gonna need to run through your level a lot and test out lighting if you're picky about your lighting like I am. So I set out these different lights. We've got a floor light, we got the lamp post, we've got these wall lights, and we've got 2 different types of ceiling lights. So let's go into game real quick and see what these look like. All right, so back over here, you can see the wall lights, you know, they actually cast a good bit of light down even way up there. And the ceiling lights, of course, have different qualities. We got this nice yellow light, and we have a more like neon color here, and it lights the area up. But if you don't have any lights at all, then things can get pretty dark. Like let's go over to that obby situation that I had over there, and let's see what that looks like. If I can get over there, I made a little shortcut to get there. And Piggy's woken up. Piggy can't do anything to me. And you can see down there, but I think it wouldn't be very hard to actually hide a door. Maybe like underneath a ledge or something so you couldn't even actually see it. I'm gonna make this jump down into the acid so you can see what I'm talking about. Boom. And then, oh, you're down in the secret area. You gotta jump through the acid pool. Isn't that cool? So another thing to look at really quickly is the sort of decoration items. Now they did promise that they were gonna add some more, but that's gonna be a lot. Like there's really not that much here. And the theme is very much like just a house, basically, or a parking lot. It's all like furnishings inside a house. And so I did a really creative build that I did like a temple. It was like an Indiana Jones sort of Temple of Doom kind of thing, and there's really very little furniture in here that I could use. I use like the crates, and I used like this thing a lot. Like, you know, I had a lot of these around. Like it was some sort of archaeological dig. But you could do a lot with just these regular shapes, and these are all in the basics, right? And you get creative with this stuff. You can build like all kinds of stuff. All right, so this is what I built using mostly just blocks, okay? So I wanted to get this sort of like deserty sand theme, and so as I said, I used very little props and things like that, and instead I got like super architectural with stuff, right? I wanted to like, you know, make this sort of like really stand out as just with the architectural elements. And so I had this like really big hallway that you could cruise down, and we'll show you this with the lighting in a second because this is all lit up in build mode. But we have this really cool hallway with stairs where you have this like giant temple in this room. And so I built this entire thing with no ceiling. And so I have a really high ceiling in here. And so this kind of works, but you can see it's sort of glitching a lot. So I definitely recommend not adding the ceiling till later. But you could do so much with blocks. Look, I use these corner ramps, I use stairs and other ramps like that. So you could do everything from like vehicles to like airplanes, you know, you could, a train. I mean, I could just imagine so many things being built with these tools, just using the simple blocks. Now, if we got some like half blocks and some other shapes, that would be really great. We could do so much with those. All right, so we're just dropping into the regular play mode, and now you can see how different this is with lighting. I put the lighting way up, and then these like, you know, lanterns on the crates really just kind of make it feel sort of eerie and creepy in here. And as you approach, oh, you see the temple start to light up, and you have these like little side rooms and stuff. I'm definitely gonna do a lot more with this map. I spent a long time. I mean, this is like probably a 6 or 7 hour build just putting together the framework for this temple. And now I'm going to be adding some of those obby ideas, those trap ideas that I was showing you. And this is just going to come a long way. Also, there is a glitch with the bot on staircases. I do believe there it is right there. So you see Piggy on the bot mode in build mode just can't handle stairs. It just pretty much glitches out on most stairs right there. So just keep that in mind right there, that staircases are not the best idea in your maps if you're gonna do bot mode. Otherwise, of course, it's fine. So as you can see here, when I respawn, I spawn up on the roof. And that's because my gray blocks are down there. Do you see them right there? And so that's another way you can deal with player spawn, is you just spawn people up on the roof and you make it so they can't even get inside. Basically right now I've got mine open because players can just drop down off the roof and they can enter into the map that way and explore around, because I was showing people around. But I could just close this room in and there would be no way in during build mode for players. So besides me. They're gonna have team build coming up soon, so that'll be really cool, but for now, that's the way this works. All right, back on my island here of testing, I wanted to show you a couple of other things just about map design. So we know that no matter how many green doors we place here, we're only gonna get one key. If you're gonna do randomized key placement, it's probably not a good idea to put all the keys behind doors, because you could end up with a random combination that makes it absolutely impossible to solve this level. So you might wanna just keep the keys outside the doors. But then what do you put inside the doors? Well, you could put a key inside a door as long as you know that the key to get in that door is somewhere outside of that on the map. So it's not going to be behind another locked door. And that would work, and then randomize the rest of them. Lots of stuff you could do though. In this particular situation, what I did is I put a dynamite inside each room, right? So now if the keys are all out in the open, but there's a dynamite inside each room, and you actually need to get every single one of those dynamite to get out of the escape. That could be an interesting design. You could also combine other elements, like you could put in front of that dynamite in that one right there, I could go ahead and I could place a door that would require the hammer, right? So now you go out here, you grab the orange key and you get inside, and oh, I gotta go back and get the hammer now because you can only carry one item. Hammer through that thing, finally get the dynamite, and the hammer would be dropped inside there where you picked up the dynamite, and then go up here and blow up that door, and then potentially you need to get the hammer again to open this one. Oh my gosh, so like this kind of map design gives us a lot of ability to make some interesting puzzles with both randomization and planning. So you're combining these types of key and door combinations, obbies, you know, the fire blocks and things like that. I really can't wait to see what kind of maps people come up with. I think that's all the tips I have for now. I just wanted to have like one video where everything was there, everything that I figured out and tested, all the tools that you can build with and how to be creative in this game. I'm looking forward to live streaming your maps. If you guys got some maps that you want us to play on a live stream and show everybody, and maybe even make a video about your map, you got a really amazing map you want to share, hit us up on Twitter, guys. We got a link in the description for our Twitter, or hit me up on Discord. I got a link for that as well in the description. So just DM me or reach out in some way. I'd love to see your map. Turn on the subs, notifications, and all that so you can come to our live streams. We're gonna be live streaming very shortly. We're gonna be playing your maps on a stream, guys. So that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor, just hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.